visited national park in the United States is the Great Smoky Mountains. With over 12 million visitors each year, it easily doubles those visitors to the Grand Canyon, which is the second most visited national park. Today we'll explain why the Smokies are so popular. We certainly add to the visitor count. Looking through our pictures, I can say that Darlene and I have visited the Smokies at least 15 times, easily making the Smokies our most visited national park. I think the Tetons or Rocky Mountain might come in number 2. We have over 2,500 pictures and video clips of the Smokies, so I have to distill it way down for you today. Rather than giving detail on all the things that you can see and do in the Smokies, this video will give you a general overview of the different areas of the park. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park sits on the border of Tennessee and North Carolina. It is 48 miles from Knoxville, Tennessee, 80 miles from Asheville, North Carolina, and 190 miles from Atlanta, Georgia. Its proximity to the major populations of eastern United States, plus the mild weather allowing you to visit the park year-round, help contribute to the popularity of the Smokies. 2 main entrances to the park are from Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and Cherokee, North Carolina. Gatlinburg has become a tourist destination unto itself. I mentioned in my Teton video that Jackson, Wyoming, just outside the Tetons, Estes Park, just outside Rocky Mountain, and Gatlinburg, Tennessee, just outside the Smokies, are 3 tourist towns that I recommend visiting. I might come back and do a video on Gatlinburg, but for today, we're just talking about things to see and do within the park. Entering the park from Gatlinburg will get you to the Sugarlands Visitor Center. Here's a good place to stop and pick up a park map. I'd also recommend picking up like a trail map because they're like $1, but it gives you better information. There's also, I've got one on day hikes and waterfalls, so I think they're like $1 a piece or something, but I do recommend picking these up at the visitor center. Note that unlike most national parks, there is no entrance station where you pay a fee and get a map when you enter the park. That's right, it is free to enter the Smokies. When the state of Tennessee surrendered the road and land to the federal government to make the park, the deed included a restriction that prohibited the collection of any tolls. So thank you, Tennessee. The road junctions at the visitor center. You either head to the right towards Elkmont and Cades Cove, or you go straight towards Clingmans Dome and then to Cherokee. I'll first cover the road towards Elkmont and Cades Cove. After leaving the visitor center, the first stop that everyone will stop at is the trailhead to Laurel Falls. There are many beautiful waterfalls in the Smokies, and Laurel Falls is not one of them. If you disagree, please let me know in your comments below. Maybe my opinion is tainted by the fact that this is an overcrowded, way too popular trail. If you want to see a waterfall in the area of the visitor center, Cataract Falls is a nice waterfall. It's only 3/4 mile round trip. You get it right from the visitor center. Cataract Falls is hardly known, and that could be because it's not on the park map. It's not on the trail map. It's not on the list of day hikes. Waterfalls. No, it's not here either. It is listed on the park topo map. Now, we purchased a park topo map because we do a lot of hiking in the Smokies, and it was worth it investment for that. So, the waterfall is hardly known, and so it's very not popular.
Cataract Falls.
When you get to the visitor center, ask where the trailhead is to Cataract Falls, because it's not well marked. You don't want to be wandering the parking lot trying to figure out where to go. Driving past the trailhead to Laurel Falls is Elkmont Campground. This is one of 4 campgrounds that we've stayed at in the park. All 4 are nice. The one negative thing about Elkmont Campground is that there's no trailer dump station in the campground. The closest one to the campground is actually at the Sugarland Visitor Center. In late May or early June, Elkmont Campground becomes ground zero for the synchronized fireflies. We saw these a few years ago and it was kind of cool. But word got out, and now this has become a huge tourist attraction, so they have a lottery system for you to get in to see them. Beyond Elkmont Campground, the road becomes a scenic drive all the way to Cades Cove. Along the way is a waterfall called the Sinks. There is a rock from which people jump off into the water below. I have never done this, but it looks thrilling. Insert legal disclaimer here. This is dangerous, do not attempt. The road ends at Cades Cove, where there's another campground and a scenic one-way loop drive. Cades Cove is the single most popular destination within the park. The 11-mile loop circles the perimeter of the valley, which has a long history of people who settled there to farm and to live before it was converted to a national park. Touring the old farmhouses, churches, and cemeteries is a popular activity. I would say Cades Cove is the best place to see wildlife, including deer and bear. The road is one way in a single lane, so there's usually heavy traffic. It would take at least an hour to drive the 11-mile loop, even if you never get out of your car, but I suggest allowing at least 3 hours to enjoy the loop. Resetting back to the Sugarland Visitor Center. Heading to the right took us to Cades Cove, but if you head straight, it heads towards Cherokee. The first recommended stop along the way is Chimney Tops picnic area. Yes, it's not just a picnic area, it's a beautiful place to rest along a roaring river. It does get crowded during lunchtime, but other times of the day you'll find it a nice, peaceful, quiet place. Beyond the picnic area is the trailhead to Chimney Tops. Chimney Tops is an outcropping of rocks that poke up above the trees. The trail takes you to a point where you then have to scramble up the rocks to get to the very top. It's a beautiful view from there.
We're at Chimney Tops. That's Darlene down below.
I won't come any further.
And she's not coming any further. That's the trail Debbie and I just came up. We're not all the way to the top yet. This is part of the view.
Continue down the road to Newfound Gap. This is the high point on the road and the border between Tennessee and North Carolina. It's also a place where you can get out and take pictures. Just past Newfound Gap is a turnoff to the road that takes you to Clingmans Dome. Clingmans Dome is the tallest mountain in the park. At the end of the road is a short but steep trail to the top of the mountain and a man-made tower that gets you above the tree line for a 360-degree view of the park. Continuing towards Cherokee is Elkmont Campground and Oconaluftee Visitor Center, if I'm pronouncing that right. The meadow around the visitor center is a nice place to walk and a great place to spot elk. One fall, we happened to be there during rutting season, which made things much more exciting.
What's he doing now? He herds them up too.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't like where a little one's at.
He ain't like that little one done took off. He's not having
Yeah, he gets after them.
She's hurt.
Yeah, she's hurt. That's what it is. He's not like
Who is he running after?
He's trying to keep her in the herd.
Yeah, but she's walking away.
Yeah.
Exit the park through Cherokee and re-enter at Deep Creek. Here's a fourth campground that we've stayed at. We love this area of the park because it's less crowded and there's a lot of nice waterfalls. One last area to highlight in the Great Smoky Mountains is the Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail. You get to this scenic drive from the town of Gatlinburg. It is a 5 or 6 mile, one-way road through beautiful forests and is the access to popular hikes to Rainbow Falls and Grotto Falls.